What's up, everyone? My name is Tony Hughes, and welcome to another video. We've been talking about the news, and that's what I want to hear. When we focus on Jesus, phenomenal things happen. Now, the question that we're asking ourselves is this: what do we do with the information now that we know who Jesus is? He was a man of wisdom. He was a man of power. He was a man of insight. He was a man that showed compassion, extended grace, gave love, right? Think of it like this: Jesus went to the cross for a reason. He went because love motivated him. Not only that, he did it because he was obedient to the Father's will, because the mission drove him. The mission pushed him and motivated to do that. Now, we know that information. That's awesome. I love that. I love Jesus for so many reasons. Excuse me. The question is this, though. What do we do with this information now? Check this out. In Matthew chapter 3, this is where we begin our journey. It says this: Then Jesus came from Galilee to the Jordan River to be baptized by John. But John tried to deter him, saying, I need to be baptized by you, and yet you come to me? Jesus replied, let it be so now. It is proper for us to do this to fulfill all righteousness. And John consented. John's like, Jesus, you're supposed to be baptizing me. You're the one that's in authority. Jesus is like, no. You need to do it to me because I need to fulfill the will of the Father. Did you catch it? Jesus' life was all in dedication to the will of the Father. Jesus bent his desires of his earthly desires and says, it's not about me. It's about the Father's will. Remember, Jesus' mission was to build a bridge to bring mankind back in a relationship with God. He did it through love. He did it and he took responsibility. I'm happy he did that, right? But check this out. Notice what happens in verse 16. Got to catch it. As soon as Jesus was baptized, he went out of the water, and at that moment, heaven was open, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and aligning on him. And a voice from heaven said, this is my Son, whom I love. With him, I am well pleased. Time out, pause. Did you just catch it? Jesus is all about the Father's will. He was submissive to what God desired him to do. He was baptized, and as he came up out of the water, heaven was ripped open. He saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove on him, and boom, three things were spoken from God, who created the stars that breathed the sun into existence. And this is what he said: this is my Son. Notice the relationship. Whom I love. Notice his heart and his character. I am well pleased. Affirmation to the core. God responded to the submissive act of Jesus, and Jesus was obedient to the Father. And God's like, I'm proud of you. I love you, right? You're my Son. What motivated Jesus to do that? The mission. What motivated Jesus to do it? Love. What motivated Jesus to do it? Responsibility. Jesus lived a life to fulfill the mission that God had for people, and that was to extend love, extend grace. And I hear God saying, come follow me. But what do we do with the information that we have? We know this information. What do we do with it, though? Look at Jesus' example. He's a man that we can admire, yes, but what was the core that motivated him to do what he had to do? It was all about the Father's will. He was submissive and obedient to God's will and saying, God, what do you want me to do? And we benefit because of his choice, because of his actions. I love that. I follow him for so many different reasons, and this is one of them. Check this out. In Mark chapter 9, starting verse 2, this is where we continue our journey. It says, after 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John with him and led them up on a high mountain where they were all alone. Peter, James, and John, and Jesus. Okay, 4 people. There he was transfigured before them. His clothes become dazzling white, whiter than anyone in the world could bleach them. And there appeared before them Elijah and Moses, who were talking with Jesus. Peter said to Jesus, Rabbi, it's good for us to be here. Let us put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah. He did not know what to say because they as a group were so frightened. Check this out. Peter, James, and John are hanging out with Jesus. Jesus says, come on, let's go up on a mountain. He goes up on a mountain. Those guys are excited because they're going to have a conversation with Jesus. Their lives are transformed at this time. Elijah and Moses showed up. Peter, James, and John were able to identify who these guys were. And Peter was like, dude, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to build a shelter? He was freaking out. Why? Moses has been dead for centuries. Elijah was taken up in a whirlwind, right? Fire chariot. He's no longer on this earth. They show up and have a conversation with Jesus. Blows their mind. Another question is this: is there life after death? This is another confirmation that proves that there's something after this life. Don't miss that. But the point is this: Moses and Elijah are having a conversation with Jesus. Notice what happens in verse 7. There's a repeat. Check it out. Then the cloud appeared and covered them, And a voice from the cloud said, "This is my son, whom I love. Listen to him." Did you catch it? In front of Peter, James, and John, and Elijah and Moses, 5 guys, and Jesus was there, so 6, God shows up and he says, "This is my son." Creator God that breathed the sun into existence has now identified who Jesus is. God is saying that he is more than just a man. If Jesus can calm a storm, he's more than a man. If Jesus can resurrect a man named Lazarus from the dead, and there's eyewitnesses of it, he's more than a man. If Jesus can face the cross and go through all that pain, he is not weak. Catch that. That is Jesus. And God is saying, "This is my son, whom I love." And what do we need to do with that information? Listen to him. It's that simple. Listen to him. If Jesus was capable of restoring a man that was demon possessed, excuse me, I want to know more about that man, Jesus. If Jesus was capable of extending wisdom, giving insight, I want to know who he is. If Jesus was capable of resurrecting himself from the dead, I'm all in. I want to follow who that guy is. So this is what I want you to be thinking about. We've been going on a journey. We've been talking about Jesus, and he's amazing, okay? Keep seeking him. But the question I want you to be answering is this. Now that we know who Jesus is, what does he want us to do? God is giving us directions. What is God's desire? I want you to listen to him. Remember the character of God and the nature of God? We can see it in the life of Jesus. Jesus extended love to people. That's the nature and character of God, right? And God is giving us truth and saying, I want you to listen to him. My encouragement is this. My challenge is this. Grab a Bible. Open up the Gospel of Mark. Begin your journey. Check out who Jesus is. All I know is Jesus came into existence for a purpose, and he came on mission, and he was obedient to the Father. And then God is asking us to listen to Jesus. There's truth there. There's wisdom there, and Jesus is that truth. I hope you guys are encouraged. I hope you guys are doing well. Love you, and I'll talk to you soon.